What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Crane Kicks Lex Show. We are psyched. 6 point weekend, 6 point weekend, and bangers, and all is right in the world. All is right. I just feel like stars aligned. Um, Auspicious days were had by all. Man, I can't wait to get into this. This is going to be one of my episodes where I'm probably going to just like lose myself in the excitement and the rambling because it just feels good. This feels good to
Tyler's
have
gonna
our
fangirl.
teams. Yes, 1,000,000%. It's amazing to have both our teams be so successful. But we'll get into all that. You
Mhm.
know we will. We got Jessica with us. We got Dylan with us. We're missing Kyle. Um, you know the drill with Kyle. He's running or something
He's
like that,
running.
right?
Yep.
Or maybe he's cooking on his Blackstone. We'll make a new one for him.
Maybe
Ooh.
That's
the
the
maybe
Jessica
this
thing.
time he's running, but he's running in place on a treadmill.
Ooh, could be, could be. Rewatching these amazing games, he just has the goals on repeat.
Hey,
That's
there you
all it
go.
is, just over and over and over again. And then he's like chanting to himself, "I'm gonna be like Joe Hafferty. I'm gonna be like Julie Mackin." And then he will. I don't know, hard work, something. Jessica, how are you doing?
I think I've sufficiently annoyed my coworkers today because I honestly could not stop talking about LSE.
Yes.
I did have one coworker who came to the game Saturday, which was super exciting. Had some friends come, and we just had a great time. And went to the watch party. It was a great weekend.
That's awesome. Dylan, what about you, man?
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same way. Like, what's up lately? It's just LSC,
Yeah.
and it's been a great weekend. And same for me. I'm lucky where my coworkers are very like close friends of mine. So saying I went to the game with coworkers would be weird. I went to the game with friends, and like it was just great to talk with them today and be like, I remember the first thing I messaged them today was, "Oh my God, we were talking about what the distance was on Hafferty's goal. We thought it was like 27. It turned out to be 30. So it was super fun to just rehash it all out today and scrub through the videos and see myself in the videos too. And yeah, it's just having a good moment.
Yeah.
That's awesome. My coworkers are all starting to like finally pick up on it. Many of them realized I do this, and now they've started like just randomly bringing up chit chat with me. A couple today, even like I didn't even know they knew what the club was, and they were like, "How about that game on Saturday?" And I was like, "You watched it?" And they were like, "Well, I saw the highlights on the news, but it looked exciting, and I might watch one in the future." And I was like, "You know what? That's a
I'll
win.
take
I'm down
it.
with that." Which
Yeah.
I mean, I love that Fox is getting some highlights out there as well as the other news broadcasts. We need that. It's
Hmm.
good. So it's sounds like everybody's getting the word out, and I mean, of course, wins are going to help. Free and reduced tickets are going to help, and I think that all showed big time this weekend. But
Hmm.
speaking of Fox 56, let's get into this. They're doing a lot more coverage, and we all knew it's already been announced, right, that the May first game against Lou City was going to be broadcast locally, which I think is a really, really big deal. Of course, you see some of these championship games, or really all of them on ESPN Plus. You see some of them on ESPN2, Golazo, things like that. But getting them on a local station, I think, is going to be pretty massive for us because the casual fan that's not been introduced to this team isn't going to go searching for these games on an app that you have to pay
Hmm.
for, right? They're
Hmm.
going to be flipping through local channels maybe one day and see it and then be like, oh, all right, maybe I'll go check that out sometime. So we actually learned that now, as of today, there are three more games added to that slate. So there's two men's games, two women's games. And it looks like our other men's game is July the 4th, Independence Day against Phoenix Rising, but it'll be away. So here, if you're here and around, you can watch it on local stations. You don't have to worry about getting into ESPN Plus and then it not working, and then you're reloading your Fire Stick and then it not working, and then you're
I
reloading and there's no sound.
I hate the ESPN app. It
Yes,
always sucks on
yes,
TVs.
yeah,
Whether like I have a Samsung TV, it sucks on that. When I use the Fire Stick get sucked on that. Like it just always is terrible.
It's a bad app.
Mhm.
Bad app for a company that's owned by Disney.
Yeah. And Disney Plus runs fine.
Yeah, I'm like, Disney, you guys like own half the world. Can you not make this good? Like, can you do that for us? But it's, is what it is. Now we have local channels. And then our two women's matches, April 16th against Spokane. And then we have May 16th against Fort Lauderdale. But both of those are home matches. So hopefully a lot of people will be in attendance for those. But then maybe people that aren't and haven't heard of the team will get a look at our stadium and everybody in action at our stadium with a home crowd. So we'll see what comes of that. I think it's a really good deal. And it kind of seems like with it only being 4 matches, it might be a little bit of Fox 56 testing the waters. And who knows, it might involve like all kinds of complicated broadcast rights that I'm just not versed in. That's a possibility. But it also does give a little bit of a vibe like, let's see what happens. Let's give both teams 2 games, kind of go from there. I hope it expands in the future. I think that would be pretty massive if we could get that to where it's on local channels for even half our games. I think that'd be cool. So I'm really, really psyched about this partnership and them doing that because when I first heard about it being like, these are our official broadcast partners, you're like, okay, well, you're going to show a few highlights. Cool. You're going to have like a little quick 30-minute show. That's great. I love it. But I think this is that next step that we need to be able to get the community noticing and watching. So I'm pretty pumped about that. It's
Definitely.
good. Yeah. Speaking of being able to watch games, you guys went to the watch party for the women's team this weekend, right?
Yeah.
How was that?
We went to Jack Brown's again, and the burgers were, and their fries and the secret sauce. I love that secret sauce, man. Like it's just so good. And the burgers are awesome. Everybody there that was working, they were all really hyped about the game, and a few of them even went to the game on Saturday, and they loved it. And yeah, and they're really excited about the future opportunities for people coming in, hanging out there for games.
Yeah, it was a good time. It's a nice little space. They just need to make sure they have the game on right right as the game is getting on, because the guy was logging in right at we were lucky that the kickoff was late. You know,
right.
And it was stressing me out because the guy's like logging in and literally putting his password in.
Same.
Like, hurry up! I'm gonna
Dylan's like the guy sweating gif, and he's just like,
yeah.
Yes. But it was a good time, and the burger was fantastic. So I'm pumped to go there again for sure.
Yeah,
I got to get out
there. And Kendall Burks was there too with his family. That was really cool. So
nice.
We didn't notice him until he was leaving.
Yeah, he had his back to where like everyone was sitting. I don't know if that was by design.
And the name on the back of his shirt.
Yeah.
Doesn't he wear that everywhere he goes?
Yeah, but he gave a wave as he was heading out, and we got to tell him good game, and it was nice.
That's cool. That's neat. That's like a weird little Easter egg. You don't really expect it, then you're like, oh, there's actually a player here. And I heard, Tim with the Railbirds, he told me that like the Jack Brown's staff, they're all very invested in making that like the LSC spot, which I think was much needed. I know that was a big struggle for the Railbirds and for fans in general to find a place that was willing to like put LSC gear up, say this is an LSC establishment and we're going to show the games for you guys, because so many places were like, I mean, sure, you can come here and we'll see if we can put on the game, and that's not the vibe you want for a place that you're going to be able to call like your hub. And I think it's really cool that it seems like Jack Brown's is providing that, and hopefully it will like continue to flourish, and that place will be packed on away days with people, because that's what you want. You want an establishment like that to support your team, and then you want to support them back, so you have that home, you have that spot. I'm excited about that, and you guys keep talking about these burgers and the secret sauce, and like I got to get out there. Life has been getting in the way too much. Life is stupid. Being an adult is dumb. I just want to watch soccer and go eat burgers every day.
It was like fun too to be able to, when they scored and everyone inside was like cheering and like that was
Mhm.
fun, like that added, to the excitement of it all. And yeah,
Mhm.
the food, I'll just talk about the food for forever. The fries were fantastic, and I got sweet potato fries too, and
Were they good?
yeah, they were fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is Jack Brown's needs to be official Crank Kicks Lex sponsors, and we get a free burger when we go for away games. That's our trade-off. And we'll talk about Jack Brown's for 2 hours each
They
episode.
can name a burger the bald head,
Oh, but that's leaving Jessica out.
Yeah, I know. I'm
I
sorry.
know.
It's,
It was just my
I don't
first
know.
thought. It was my first thought. So
It could have been something with glasses, but then Kyle doesn't wear glasses. Well, he
he
wears
does.
contacts. He tries to hide. He's ashamed of
Ooh.
being spectacled, but whatever. Not everybody can rock it. It's okay, Kyle.
Coming up with a special LSC burger, though. Working
Oh,
with
that would
them
be
on an
cool.
LSC burger, I think that would be awesome.
One that's only available on game days.
Ooh,
Yes.
even better. Oh, I like
There
that.
we go.
Good
You
idea.
got the idea. If
Yep.
somebody from Jack Brown's is listening, then dope. If they're not, somebody needs to tell them we solved world's problems for them. LSC game day burger. There it is. They'll get the green ketchup from 1999.
Oh my gosh.
Imagine it.
Wow, that's
Imagine
a throwback.
I was thinking about the Shrek ketchup.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was when I was a lad, a young lad.
When I was a lad. So
Man,
long
they even
ago.
had purple and
they had purple
green.
too.
Oh
we
man,
can't do no purple. Blue City.
no.
You're speaking blasphemy.
Sorry,
It's
my
okay.
bad.
It's okay. It's okay. You're just putting bad vibes out here, Jessica. We were rolling high, and then you went and did that. It's okay. It's okay. We forgive you. But no, that would be really cool. I think that it'd be cool to see Jack Brown's do some of that stuff. And yeah, we're hoping to make appearances there more often with the Railbirds. And I hope anybody else listening in Lexington, you consider going there. I know it's a lot to do soccer both days, but this is kind of a chill, nice way to just interact with fans, go watch some away games. If you like cheering at home, cool, but it's better when you can scream with people that you like.
Yeah.
Let me add too, and this is a huge factor, especially for someone like myself. If you're going to a watch party, it's probably going to be on a weekend, Saturday or Sunday. Parking is free downtown on the weekends.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That is huge.
Yeah.
My wife makes fun of me because that's always the first thing I ask. Like, what's parking
Same.
like? She's like, that's such a dad thing to say. And I'm like, but seriously, though, that can make or break my time if parking
That's
sucks.
true.
Absolutely.
I start considering my options and I'm like, you're telling me I got to parallel park, huh? I'm not digging that. And for everybody that's like, well, just learn how to parallel park. It's not that. It's just that we have weirdo drivers that sideswipe me and take my mirror with it. And nobody wants to come out from a game and find that. So I can parallel park. I just choose not to.
I think at this point they are planning on still doing a watch party at Jack Brown's on Saturday after the women's game, since the men's kickoff is at 10:30.
Dang.
I know it's a lot.
That would be kind of cool though. But it would be kind of cool, like to just go race from over there.
Yeah, take one party from one spot to the other.
That would be kind of neat.
Yeah. So let's go.
Ooh, all right. We might be calling on Grandma babysitter for Saturday. Grandma sleepover, so that way could stay out and just get this double dose of LSC on a weekend. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be a fun night.
I have to consider that. All right. Let's wait, no, before we get into games, there was one more thing. Jessica enlightened me because I it slipped past me. I don't know how. I guess just because,
I'm just on top of
being
it.
Observant. She is, she's just number one now. She runs the show. This is Jessica Kicks Lex, and we're just here for the vibes. We're like her minions. That's why me, Kyle, and Dylan all look the same. We're just minions that she produced in a factory, and here we are. I'm not wearing overalls though, because that would be stealing Tim's swag. So I'm not a swag thief. There's I don't know. You tell us about it, Jessica. I'm not gonna steal your thunder. You told me.
in addition to Lexington Sporting Club's shop, where you can get awesome merch, which our merch shop, they have a lot of great variety of things. The USL shop has recently opened. So if you go to shopusl.com, they also have some LSC stuff for you to check out. I would say, I think since they've just started it, there isn't a ton of variety, but I've already shared with Tim, because Tim is not a huge fan of the American flag version of the LSC flag, but they have a couple versions of an LSC flag that is not. It looks different, and they've got a couple different cups, really cool shirt, and then some t-shirts and whatnot, sweatshirts. So I'm pretty sure it'll kind of grow from there. But
yeah, I mean, I like a couple of the options. Like you said, some of them are kind of like basic every day, but there were some things that kind of had a cool design, like that one flag that was on there, and then the cup that they had that mirrored it. There's some neat stuff that I mean, I would check it out. It's nice to have extra options no matter what, right?
Definitely.
Everybody likes more options.
Yeah.
Sorry,
so little
Dylan
shout
kind of
out.
distracted me with his Pez dispenser. If you're not watching, Dylan was trying to throw us off our game with his Spider-Man Pez.
It's like that episode of Seinfeld.
This guy with his aspirin candy.
Yeah, so little shout out to the USL shop.
Yeah, definitely.
More merch options.
Definitely cool. I love it. Which, of course, our own merch shop has all kinds of brand new Hummel stuff, more coming. Supposedly, which, I mean, I don't know why it wouldn't. We're about to have an away game, but we're going to have a kit release soon. So another kit.
Yeah.
So if you weren't necessarily a fan of the home kit, which I do have to say that Kyle wanted me to clarify that after seeing the kit in action, he did not dislike it as much as he initially thought. So he recants some of his statement. He wanted me to make sure I said that he still wasn't in love with it.
Yeah.
He loves it, but isn't in love with it. But, we'll have another kit option that's supposedly going to be a banger coming in just a few days, supposedly Thursday. So we'll definitely be able to check out the new setup. I don't know. I'm psyched. I don't know which one to buy. So we'll see what it looks like first.
I would.
All right.
Yeah. Sorry. My only other complaint about, since we're talking about the home kit, the numbers and names on the back are so dark. It's so hard to see their names and numbers.
Yeah.
So when it's like, oh, who did that? I'm like, so unless you're familiar with their faces and what position they are, it's kind of difficult to figure out who's doing what.
I will say you're 100% on the money.
Yeah.
I could never read their names.
It was really hard.
I could see their numbers, but that's just because they were extra large, right? So the light would catch them just right, and I'd be like, all right, there's number 6. That's Joe.
I'm just going off hair at this point.
You're right. Yeah. Yeah. For real.
Honestly, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you're right. It's completely allowed. Oh, I can't speak. Unreadable. Let's say that it was completely unreadable. They need to figure something out if they can.
Yeah, lighten it up or something. It's too dark.
We play too many night matches to be rocking.
Oh my god! Yeah, such a good point.
Exactly.
During the day maybe we could kind of get by with it, but nighttime, I don't think it's gonna fly like it should. So maybe we're stuck.
I wonder if we will get a third kit at all this season, and maybe we would transition a little bit more into that third kit as our home. We can kind of semi-adopt it.
A couple years ago.
Yeah.
Whenever eventually they're like, no, we're gonna go with these black kits. No. That's a good point. It's possible. And I have heard that a lot of times the kits that we wear, I mean, obviously your away kit is your away kit, but in general, when we have more than just the basic 2, it seems to be that the club also kind of goes off vibes with kits and is like, yeah, this kit is vibing and it's popular and we're playing well in it. Look good, feel good, play good. They kind of go with that mantra. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Maddie Parsons. Let's get into some game talk. Let's, it's fresh on the mind. I want to talk Super League first. especially because we've had 2 matches since we last got a chance to talk about them, because we had our USLC preview show that took, the whole episode, which was warranted. We did one for the Super League too. But now we have 2 matches to talk about. I'm feeling really good. First off, we got to address the elephant in the room. We now have Sam Stockley back in charge. He is there leading the team, doing his thing. It's kind of crazy to think that it's just always like it all comes down to Stocks. We always return to Stocks. He's inevitable.
Damn it! I was just about to say that.
Snatched it from you, Dylan. Take that. No, I don't know. I had no idea you were gonna say it. But for real though, yeah, he is swooping in. It was a shocker to me. I thought for sure, Marin McCrary would just kind of see out the season. We'd go from there. And then we did a little bit of a pivot. The USL Super League website actually released the information before the team did, but it wasn't like mega advertised. It was hidden in their little notes area. And then, everybody in like the CKL Discord, they found it and they were like, hey, look at this. But yeah.
So officially head coach or still interim?
Interim, yeah.
Oh,
but I mean,
okay.
I would imagine he's going to see out the season at this point with so few matches left.
Oh,
I feel like rushing to find somebody new
At
right
this
now.
point.
Right.
Yeah, especially when we have 2 good results that we're riding off of. Just roll with it, I feel.
Yeah.
But it's hard to argue against the move, though. Ever since he's taken over, points have been coming.
I mean, say what you will, he gets the most out of his players. I mean, he always has. And, the results speak for themselves. And we can go back to our first season. Our roster, maybe it wasn't the most touted, but we, overperformed with the roster that we had for sure, right? And I think that's something that Stocks really does well is, hype up the team, get a good game plan, and, get the most out of his players. And he's done it. And I think we played better in the Brooklyn match. Overall, like I think the game plan just worked better, even though the result, wasn't as good. But still, like Stocks is. Hey, I'm a big fan of if it ain't broke, don't try to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, it ain't broke, so let's not try to fix it.
Yeah,
agreed.
I 100% agree.
Yeah,
in that Brooklyn game, I said it. Whatever we did, our like predictions and all that, I kept saying like the Brooklyn game I think is going to be important. That's going to show if we can go toe to toe with a team that's challenging, and we did. And I agree with you 100%, Dylan. Between the 2 recent matches, I think the Brooklyn game was a stronger match. I think that was one where just defensively we were clicking like we really never have before. I don't think we've ever had that good of a complete defensive performance, which, I mean, I know you guys feel the same, but definitely also shout out to Autumn Weeks, because in that game
she was
balling.
Yes.
I really wanted to shout her out.
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, I'm always talking about how scared I am of Mackenzie George, and like Autumn Weeks was just like, who's that?
Yes.
She shut her down so much, and she had a great game. I mean, everybody on the team was clicking and doing well, and I know goals didn't come, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't think that it would be good even to just get a 0-0. Clean sheet,
right?
Close it out. They're top of the league. Shut them down and get something out of it. And a win would have just been like the cherry on top. I would have loved to have seen it. But I think that was a good confidence boosting game to be like, okay, we took them on. We did our thing. And we were the first team to shut them out all season, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I don't think that any other team has done that. And so for us, which, I mean, I know the announcers love to say it every match. They're like, Lexington's defense is the worst we've ever seen. And I'm like, okay, thank you. I appreciate that. But, and I think that this showed like we are not a lost cause. We can do it. We're building. We're getting it together. It was great. Were there any particular takeaways from that Brooklyn match that stood out to you guys, aside from like, the Autumn Weeks thing, which you guys can say that again. I don't care. We can sing her praises all day because that was a phenomenal game from her.
There's so many things that I want to run through. Like, Jessica and I sat, with each other. My wife and I sat with her, with Jessica's family, and so where we were sitting, we actually got to see in the second half. Autumn was right
Crushing
in
it.
front of us,
Yeah.
and so we got to
Mhm.
see like, front row Autumn just working, and it was incredible. She like so good on the ball and so good off the ball, just
Yeah.
making sure not to make dumb plays, keep the ball back to the keeper, or she would find Shea in the middle, or
Mhm.
just she was able to even beat out the people who were defending her and make runs forward, which was incredible too. And uh, it was definitely her best performance of the season so far. And I'm like super pumped for her, because I was worried with, all the not off season, but mid season moves. I was worried about like where she got put, because she's been so positionally flexible. And
Mhm.
we saw her in the attacking mid position, under Dickey a little bit. I was worried we wouldn't see Autumn that much anymore, but now to have her, kind of maybe locked in at this left back position and it work out really well for us. Um,
Mhm.
I'm I'm really digging that. Like I
Yeah.
really dig that. And then Shay, I thought had a fantastic performance. I think one thing we always talk about with Shay is her like offensive passing ability and her play starting, but her defensive control against Brooklyn was insane. She was intercepting like I've never seen her do before. She was reading those
Mhm.
passes so clearly and getting those tackles and winning so many balls. It was so fantastic. And then
Mhm.
my last point that I want to kick on is the thing that we are always bugging on with this team is that they will get the ball and feel a little bit of pressure and then kick it forward to the corners and try for nothing, basically. And we did not see a single lick of that against Brooklyn. I don't remember seeing it one goddamn time. And that's why they played so well. Because anytime they got nervous, they passed it off to an open player. And that open player then passed it off to another open player. And we build confidence through those passes. And we were able to move and hold possession. And granted, we didn't score, but we earned a point against the best team in the league, and now they're crumbling. Like we were
Mhm.
able to crack a code a little bit,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it was like it was a chess battle for sure. Like it was a chess match, in terms of like tactics and working everything out. And I was so glad to see it, firsthand, despite it being freezing goddamn
Yeah.
cold.
It was so cold.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I was so bummed that I missed it. The whole family was sick, and I was like, all right, we'll take care of them and scream here at home. And it was great.
So but you were watching live, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. I just had the sicklies all around me, and I
Yeah.
was coughing on me, and I'm like, "Hey, we're doing pretty good." And
Please
they're like,
don't throw up on me
"Okay, Dad."
again.
Yeah, for real. That was a fun one. But yeah, and thinking about like riding the wave off of like Brooklyn and then going to DC, who's not necessarily in really good standing. I mean, they're kind of down there with us, honestly, right? If we're being real about it. Um, it felt like we could handily beat them. I don't know that I'd say we handily beat them, though. It was
No.
definitely a weird game, in my opinion. I mean, proud of the team and the effort, and we got the dub. We did our thing. It was great. But it was kind of a strange thing to see how incredibly well we were playing and how much we were clicking against Brooklyn. And then DC, we just kind of struggled to kind of have that exact same composure. And
Mhm.
then um, I don't know. It felt like the whole game DC was in control, and DC was going to be the one that was going to all of a sudden break through and maybe score 2+ goals.
Yeah.
Luckily, their finishing wasn't there, except for like the one. They pulled in that sub late in the game, and she was a huge difference maker, clearly. But I was still kind of shocked. Yeah, I don't know. I still feel hopeful, and I'm grateful for the win. But I thought after handling Brooklyn the way that we did, it would be a
Yeah.
little bit more like, oh no, we're gonna go and we're gonna lock this down, and they're not gonna be able to do anything about it. I don't know. What
Right.
are you guys' impressions of the match?
So I almost wonder if going into Brooklyn, they knew, okay, we've got to keep possession, we got to keep it on lockdown. Like Dylan was mentioning with Autumn, I think she did, and in our defense in general, did a really good job of reading what Brooklyn was, what plays they were trying to do, and we were able to shut them down. And so I think riding into the game with DC, maybe it was a little cockiness where it's like, oh, we got this. And then it just kind of, like you said, we didn't have the same composure. We started doing the kicking the ball up the field, hoping someone gets it again. And I totally agree that I felt like DC controlled the majority of the game, and we were able to take advantage of more opportunities to get shots on goal, and it worked out in our favor. Fortunately, I think in with that game we got a little more lucky with that, because I think they got quite a few shots on goal, but we were just able to. Cox rocked that game. Like she dominated in that sense. I think she really saved us there.
I agree. And, just to kind of illustrate the difference in quality of chances, there's a couple stats for anybody out there that's not super familiar with the expected goals type of calculation. It's pretty much like you get the ball into a certain area, you take shots. How likely is that shot to go in based on a bunch of math, far beyond my ill-equipped skill set, but I do at least know how to read numbers, right? And so for DC, they had a 2.13 expected goal. We had a 0.89. So that means like it was pretty unlikely that our shots would find the goal, no matter what, like where we were taking them from and all the other variety of environmental factors that were happening. The likelihood of our chances going in were pretty slim versus DC's chances. It was kind of crazy, honestly.
Yeah.
They did not find more goals based on those same factors. So, like you said, Jessica, it just chance taking, trying to make something crazy work, like Julie Mackin's absolute banger.
Oh
that
my
was just her
gosh,
trying
yeah.
to make something work. She was like, you know what? I'm just going to send this rocket and see what happens. And nobody was expecting it. We get a goal.
Yeah.
Or Hannah White being in the right position, which that's not really an accident. That's just good instinct to be like, hey, if something happens, I'm going to be here just in case to get that second ball. And she was, and she found the space and knocked it in.
Right.
But yeah, the stats were just the tail of the tape. If you weren't really truly, watching the game and just looked at the stats, you'd be like, how did they pull that one out?
Yeah. I mean, even like watching the game, it felt like that DC had possession a ton and they were controlling the game, and even felt like they were on our half of the field a majority of the time, and I know that this season overall, DC has really struggled to find the back of the net, and that has obviously bode well for us on, 2 occasions.
Yeah.
So, there's that. But yeah, like I think the game plan just wasn't there for this game for us. The stats really back it up. We were really not likely to win this game based on our performance. And I really think the team needs to, look at the last 2 games and compare them and see how they can, combine the possession play of a Brooklyn with the shots that we are taking, against DC. We
Yeah.
just don't take shots. And that is obviously a possession problem. We need to hold possession in order to take shots. So we need to marry, the two in order to get, a goal, right?
Right.
And, I'm not a coach. I don't set the lineup. I don't pick who's playing, but I think Maddie Parsons needs to be in. You know, if we
Hmm.
want to be more clinical and get more production out of the team, Maddie is going to be that answer. She's a contributor on, whether it's a assist or a goal herself. So
Yeah.
her contributions are going to be there whether it's a goal or it's a pass. So we just need to have her on the field.
Yeah.
And Brooklyn, we didn't start her, and then in this game against DC we didn't start her, and again we're not seeing you know
The
goals from
goals.
open play and stuff like that. you know So I don't know. Like I said, I'm not the coach. I don't make the decisions, but I just think having her in would help a ton.
But also bring Maddie back to the starting lineup.
Yeah. And that's
I
funny
mean,
because I was going to ask what you guys would change.
yeah. I I mean, I'm a Maddie fan, and
Mm,
I think Hannah White. I think with getting the goal, um, I think that helped me warm
mhm.
up to her a little bit. But
Yeah.
it is hard when I'm definitely very partial to Maddie. I mean, as far as comparing how they played between Brooklyn and DC, I would compare the game against Brooklyn to how we played DC in December.
Mhm.
Those were very similar. And the DC game in December compared to the DC game yesterday was completely different. In
Yeah.
December, we controlled the game, we dominated, we held possession, and yeah, it didn't seem it wasn't like that yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, I've been harping on it. I harped on it just a little bit ago. We saw in the DC game them just kicking the ball forward again
Right.
and trying to hope for someone,
To
in the forward
make a
spot to
break for it.
to make a
Yeah.
break for it, but no one's ever like there's just not enough communication, I guess, or I
Yeah.
don't know what the issue is, but we just always default back to that and it
Right.
doesn't work and then we just lose possession and then
Yep.
then
Have
it
to
takes
fight
us
to get it
forever.
back.
Yeah, and then it takes forever to get it back again. And it's just a constant, Sisyphus pushing the boulder up.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And
Agree.
you guys talk about being Maddie fans, but there is more to it. It's not just that like she's a cool person and she's great with the fans, but like I mean, even if we look at now, we've already started the spring half of the season. She is still our leading goal scorer with 5, and she's like what in 7th place in the entire league, and she is still tied with Maddie Perez as the leading assist producer in the league.
Hmm.
That's
So
what I'm saying.
it's not just like we're fanning out and being like, give us Maddie because we're fans of her. We
She
The
need
gets
numbers don't
somebody that
results.
was
lie.
Yeah.
producing.
She
Yeah,
gets results.
and nothing against our new attackers at all. I love them and I want them to have opportunities. It does, it raises questions when you take somebody that's a proven attacking threat and you make them the super sub as opposed to reverse. And I know training changes situations week by week and things happen. And there are probably layers to this that we are not privy to. And I get it. And once
Right.
again, we're not trying to take anything away from any of the newer players that have joined in. It's just, it's kind of one of those things. It's like you let somebody cook until they're not cooking anymore. And I feel like,
Hmm.
Yes.
she's been cooking and anytime that we did stall out, it wasn't like one individual, right? It's a team thing. We stalled out
Right.
because the team stalled out. So you need to kind of tweak things, move things around, test, the waters with stuff. Um, But I mean, I hope we do see her back in action, before too long, because I do think she isn't finished contributing in the ways that she has. I
Agreed.
am encouraged by the Hannah White goal. That was a beautiful poacher's
Yeah.
goal. You know what I mean? Like, she was there. She was
Right.
ready for wherever that ball landed to just sing it in. And, nobody, all the defenders didn't even see her. It's like she was like shrouded and hidden from them, and then reappeared and was like, guess what? I'm scoring today. And I really do love that. And there have been bright spots in both games. I know we said the DC one felt like we were a little more deflated than in the Brooklyn one, for sure. It didn't seem like it had quite as much intensity, or we weren't like as locked in. But Vernus has been great. Shout out to her. She got team of the month? Yes.
Team of the month, yeah. For
I had to think
February.
about it. I was like, wait, it hasn't been a month. And I'm like, wait, we did play in February. February's over. Here's where my brain is. It's a time warp. But I think she's proven to be really, really great for us in the midfield, helping out in the capacities that she has, along with Shay and, Claire Winter being pushed kind of out to the wings. Filling that role has been awesome for us. Julie Mackin has been crushing it. Autumn had a great game. There have been so many improvements. I think we still have a little bit to go. Until we can string together a bunch of performances that look like we're comfortable in each of them, there's still work to be done. And I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer. I never will be. I'm super psyched about this win. But, I understand that it wasn't a win where you come away from it and you're like, that was perfection. We're good now. And I think the players obviously know that. They know that, like, okay, we're not finished yet. We can't just say we got a draw and a win and let's just kind of coast from here on. They're ready to keep building and working. And I think that's what we need.
Yeah, so. Totally agree.
So how are we feeling overall, having 2 results in a row that were positive? Like, are we feeling better based on the predictions? I almost said pre-spring season predictions. Are those kind of morphing into something even more positive, or are we still kind of reserved on those?
I'm feeling good at the moment, kind of. I wanted us to draw, at least draw Brooklyn, and I thought that we would win against DC at DC. So I'm in favor of those because that's what I wanted to happen, at least.
Yeah.
So I think we're in a good spot, and we did move up in the standings as well, which is a bright spot. So I do think there is a lot of good, hope and goodwill that we are building and that we have to keep going with. We just need to tighten things up on the field a little bit more, get the game plan more sound, and then I think we can really start stringing more results together.
Yeah.
Totally agree. And in it, kind of tacking on to getting things tightened up, and especially going into the Dallas game, after seeing how Dallas absolutely demolished Brooklyn. Wow. So I feel like Brooklyn tying us, we knocked them down a peg, but Dallas, I mean, obviously not in the standings, but you know what I mean. And then Dallas just came in and I don't even know what to say there.
I know. I'm kind of stuck on like the chicken or the egg type of situation. I'm like, was Brooklyn broken when they faced us, or did we break Brooklyn? They're in a spiral, because it was kind of unsettling to see them lose 6-0 against Dallas, because we are playing Dallas next. And I'm like, I really hope they used up all their goals on Brooklyn and they just don't have any more to give, because that was crazy. And they had like 5 separate goal scorers. Thornton had 2 herself. She had a brace, but then there were like 4 other people that scored. So it's not, I don't know, everybody's getting a piece of pie. And of course, we experienced that too back in the fall. We were first Brooklyn, so just so you know.
Yeah, and so the result Dallas had against Brooklyn, and then also knowing that we held them 0-0 for majority of the game, and then they scored 3 on us in the last 12 minutes. So yeah, I'm a little leery.
It's going to be challenging. Like looking at that now, it completely morphs my viewpoint, right? Like of like Brooklyn being like the standard, and I'm like, oh man, maybe the winds have changed, and those offseason moves that happened for a lot of teams, maybe they change towards Dallas, and they're the one that really is going to set the bar. And I am encouraged though that we're going to start having more options here soon, because Trinity Watson finally made her debut. She's healthy. She was in the 18. Excuse me. She actually appeared for the team in the later half of the DC game. So I feel like once she gets some like reps in and kind of gets the motor running, she'll be an awesome option, starting or otherwise, for us. Shin will hopefully be back to us before too long. We really could use having her.
Yes.
Nothing against anybody else, but it's always nice to have that depth and as many options as possible. So I do find it curious that we've not seen some of our other new players, like our Colombian national team trio that we had signed. The striker still, I don't even think she's in Lexington at this point. And Angel City's the only one that mentioned it. Angel City was like, all right, Lexington, good luck with her. And then everybody else is just like,
crickets.
what? yeah. Like, that's happening. Did we do that? So, we have options. It's curious how everybody ends up playing that role as we go through each of these tough opponents. But Dallas is not going to be a pushover, even with us having the luck of being at home. I anticipate that being a extremely tough game, unless they're just so tired of scoring goals. They're just like, no more. I can't handle scoring again. I need to rest, which I'm okay with. They can do that. Yeah. Hey, what do we think outcome for Dallas game? Let's do a prediction. Why not? Let's do it. I'm hitting you guys with this on the fly. I'll go first. I'm going to say this is a very, very tough game. And I feel good about what we did. I'm going to be very optimistic right now. Very optimistic. I'm going to say 2-2. 2-2. Yes.
That was my prediction.
Yeah. Hey, optimism buddies. High five.
I know. Hey. Yeah. And also going with the optimism of,
yes.
I think, I was hoping to draw Brooklyn, and we did. I was expecting there to be goals. So the fact that it was 0-0. So going into this one, I still think there will be goals, but I'm very optimistic that we'll tie 2-2.
All right, Dylan, hurt everybody's feelings.
No, I was going to say draw. And I was going to say 2-2 as well. There we go. But
look at us.
Yeah.
Okay, we're manifesting.
Powers activate.
You can miss me with that.
I would never miss you with that. You're gonna join in. You just want people to see it. Don't be embarrassed, Dylan. No, but and I know we're all saying like it's optimistic, but I think it's optimistic that's kind of founded in recent form.
Absolutely.
I think it's doable. I think DC's not going to, they've done it a couple times where they've come in and destroyed a team, but those have, come few and far between. There's a lot of normal, regular games where they don't turn into the Monstars. So I hope that we can avoid an appearance of that in this one. And I feel confident in the vibes amongst our ladies. I think that they know that they're on the right trajectory. And the right changes are happening. And I think that they're all going to contribute and play their part, whatever that part may be. And we can get something out of this. We can do it. Yeah. We're not afraid of you, Dallas. You have a fake horse mascot. We have real horses, two horses that are real.
Yeah.
And they're miniature. Yours is fake with fake wings. So whatever.
Horses don't even have wings.
Yeah. Your Pegasus. Your anthropomorphic Pegasus that stands like a human. What is that? Nah,
is it really? I've never looked that closely at their.
Oh yeah, they have like a traditional American sports mascot. It's somebody dressed as a Pegasus.
Oh.
It's very like friendly and cartoony and not a real horse, let alone two.
Do you have a name for it? Do you know the name?
I did think so, but I can't remember its name. Yeah. It's not worth my time. Doesn't have the same sting as Bolt circa 2020, so not worth my time. All right, you guys, let's switch into the men's game. Let's do that. Let's keep the vibes rolling
Yes.
high. What a freaking game. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. I do not think I'm being hyperbolic whenever I say that that was probably the best collective performance out of our men's side since the
Yeah.
club's inception. We've had a lot of great games, but I don't know that I've ever seen a game where I just felt like, oh my God, they're all like just moving like they're part of like the same organism. Like they were just like going perfectly in time, shifting back and forth, like overlaps, underlaps, whatever type of laps you could think of, pool laps. I don't know, but it was amazing. They were doing so good, just being in sync. Like that
Yeah.
chemistry was there. We harped all last season about chemistry being missing. I felt encouraged that chemistry was there. We got some mad scientist vibes going on because they were mixing and matching and came out with something good. And talk about the vibes, a record setting crowd, 5,025. And I know
Hmm.
everybody does the whole, oh, yeah, but was that ticket sold or scanned? There were a ton of people there. Even like our East Side stands that on broadcasts are always empty were packed with people.
Yeah. It
Um,
was awesome.
Yes, and gotta give props to the club for finally just
Yes.
biting the bullet and giving away tickets and or giving them away for a really good deal. That
Yeah.
had to happen. Like we've said it 400 times on this podcast. I don't know if somebody finally like heard us and was like, "Okay, let's try it." But I think while we might not replicate 5,000 fans every Saturday, I think that we can get a lot of fans, a
Hmm.
noteworthy amount of fans by just being like, you know what, until we get this kind of off the ground, come check us out for $5. And
Yeah.
then you have people buying concessions, you have them buying merch. It comes out good.
Yeah.
And the vibes, like I think that truly the fans and how loud everybody was fueling the team. Like, how can you
Hmm.
not get pumped up when you hear everybody going crazy? Like, it was so loud that I couldn't even hear Dylan, and he was just two sections over. So that's how you
That's
know
true.
everybody was pumped up. Like, I'm used to
Yeah.
very like clearly hearing Dylan be like, "Get off the ground! You're time wasting," and I didn't hear that one single time in this entire match. So, like, that's how you know people were getting rowdy.
Yeah.
Maybe some people were getting too rowdy and they had to get cautioned, or they were going to pause the game. But I
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
It was good.
totally agree. I mean, who cares if they gave a ton of tickets away? They got people in the stands. They got
Yeah.
people excited. So many people.
Mm-hmm.
I saw um, tons of like posts on social media of people
Yes.
saying, "Oh, this is my either first LSC game, and some of them first professional soccer game ever."
Right. That's a
And
big deal.
so, yeah, you really drum up the excitement, and then you get them talking about it and say, "Hey, come to their friends, come to a game with us." And yeah, I thought it was great.
Yeah, it was a great night. It was a good atmosphere in general. Just like having people be around you in the stands just like made it more enjoyable,
Hmm.
and getting the crowd into it was so fun. It didn't feel like there was ever a quiet moment, you know. It felt like through the last couple of seasons for the men's side, you could just like hear a pin drop at certain points in
Hmm.
the game. But this time, like I have a hoarse voice because I was yelling, because it was
Hmm.
so
Yeah.
loud. Because, just talking to the people next to me, I had to be yelling just to talk to them. You know, it was it was crazy. It was a great time. And like I had an experience. This is like a really silly, but I went to the bathroom at halftime, and in the bathroom at halftime, there were people just like reflecting on what we saw and being like, "Oh my god, that was." Drunk people, people who've had a couple beers, like, "Oh my god, that was the greatest goal of all time. That was the best thing." And like, and I'm not knocking that at all. I'm talking like that is a good thing to have. We need more of those people to have these experiences because like it's fun. It creates a pro team atmosphere. Like that's only an
Right.
experience you would have at a pro team, like whether it's a baseball game or an NFL game or something like that, to have those like really like specific, moments, and just like I just can't get enough of like what that was, for this weekend and how fun it was. And like you said, Tyler, the team was just really incredible. When we, talk, moving away from the experience and talking about like the team on the field, it was a great team. Like the team played very, very well. And I don't know if I was impressed more with like our defensive effort or our goals. You know what I mean? Like the fact that we were able to hold down the fort, and Ketter, did he like do anything like at all?
He didn't have to he barely worked. Like
I
that was
know,
probably the
like,
easiest day of work in his life.
I know.
Just like, you guys gonna need me to do anything, or you just want me here for the vibes?
Yeah,
that's a good problem to have as a keeper.
I messaged him saying, congratulating him on the clean sheet, and he's like, "That was not. I did nothing." Essentially, he was like, "That was all the guys. Like they were great." So
that's your favorite thing to say when you're a keeper. Which, by the way, from your story, side note, Dylan, Tim's listening to this, and he's like, "Why don't you just at me?" but for real though, like that is the sign of a good game when your keeper is not notable in any way. That is a good thing. That is an amazing thing. Banger from Joe Hafferty.
Yeah.
We already talked about Julie.
Gosh.
It was so weird to me whenever I was watching the Super League game and I saw Julie about to like hammer that, and I was like, oh my God, she's gonna do a Joe Hafferty.
Deja vu.
Yes, it was nearly identical, and I was like, all right, now I know we're living in a simulation because my wildest dreams are coming true right now. But it's great to see that type of thing. His goal was amazing. My thing is, I just really like to see players letting it rip, taking chances. And, we can get into Joe's goal. We can get into Elliott's a little bit more. I think something that really stood out to me in this game, besides the composure and how good we were just as a unit with our chemistry, is I felt like we were being creative in the final third. And we were trying things. We weren't just seeing the same thing replicated. And sure, we had a lot of crosses that came from the lefts, and we were trying that out. But I feel like beyond your bread and butter, cross it in front of goal and see what happens, we were doing a lot of little things here and there to say, well, let's see if this will work. Let's see if this one works. What about this one? And that's what you really want to see from your team, to feel encouraged, because there's nothing worse than watching your team not have any ideas or any creators that can help you spur that attack to where you need it to be. And I felt like we had that. It felt right and like it was clicking. But again, Joe Hafferty. What was better, the goal or the celebration?
The goal. For sure.
Yeah, I mean, the celebration was pretty cool.
Yeah,
I was like I kind of snapped out of celebrating for a second when I saw him do it, and I was like, what the heck did he just do? That was
do some flips.
That was like a full-on like Olympic gymnast setup.
Well,
which
he said his mom was a gymnast.
Yeah. In interviews afterwards, he's like, my mom's a gymnast, and I'm like, dude, you're a gymnast. Like, did you not see what you just did, man? That was wild.
I wonder if that's his thing, or if he just in the moment was just feeling it.
He said it in the moment.
I hope it is. For as cool as those are, they always stress me out a little bit.
Yes.
Because I'm like, don't hurt yourself, please.
Yes,
Oh my God.
I agree.
So,
I'm cool with one a season. Then after that, I'm like, can you just give me like a knee slide or something?
Yeah.
Don't do anything to hurt yourself, or come over here and give me a fist bump. That's safe.
Yeah.
The goal
and it being on the Railbird side, it was just
It was
perfect.
It was absolutely electric. The way it just ripped through everything. And I was sitting right behind, and I thought the net was going to rip, and I thought that ball was going to hit me in the face. Like,
well,
that's
he actually
how
told me he was
powerful.
aiming for your face.
Well, I'm glad. I'm glad.
He said, I saw your
You have to sit
doppelganger.
there.
I was like, I'm going to get him. But
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys noticed too, but and maybe it's just my imagination. Maybe like my brain went into like 90s sports movie mode or something. But I feel like it even got like weirdly quiet right when he like pulled
Oh
his leg down
yeah.
to kick. And I think
Yes.
everybody was like, once the realization set in that he was gonna actually shoot it,
Yeah.
everybody was like, wait a second. And
Yeah.
then it went in and everybody just like erupted and was like, holy crap. Like,
Yeah.
he just did that.
It was
Right.
it was so needed too. It felt like a huge release too of like
Mm-hmm.
emotions, right? Like something
Yeah.
we've all been waiting for, and
Mm-hmm.
like that goal was just perfect. Like
Yeah.
that goal specifically was perfect to just like uncork the season
Yes.
and let all the emotions out for
Yeah.
us.
Right.
And it was so it was awesome. Like I just won't forget that moment like
Yeah.
forever because
That's
like
true.
it was just incredible. And like I was like in awe, like just jumping up like crazy, you know?
Yeah. That was, yeah. And I completely agree. An extremely memorable first goal for the first home game of the inaugural championship season. Yeah, I think people will be talking about that
Yes.
forever.
It's up for goal of the week. So
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that's how good it was. And you're 100% right about it being like kind of cathartic. There's not a single LSC fan that I've spoken to that wasn't like afraid to get
Mm,
hyped about the season because of getting essentially. I don't think it's unfair to say we got burned last season. The
mm.
hype was high, and then it was like a photo finish to try and not be bottom of the league, And so I think getting off on the right foot was super important for Lexington fans and Lexington in general. That
Yeah.
you have a crowd like that out there, you got to win. If you're trying to
Yeah.
get attendance and you've been struggling to get people out to games, you pretty much have to win that first game in the championship after all that
Right.
hype and all of this like build up and we're going to the next level. And it was a lot. It meant a lot for old fans and for new fans. It served a really good purpose to like be like, oh wow, that was such an exciting goal. It wasn't like some
Hmm.
little fluke, whatever, dinky rolled in goal. It was the type of goal that people that had never been to the game, like you guys said, are going to be sitting there telling people about. Like, I saw this dude let it rip, and it was wild, and
That's
I'm
what
going to
I'm
go back and
saying.
see if it does it again. And
Yeah.
that's important. That's important. Um, but then we were like blessed with an Elliott Goldthorpe goal. Like, talk about super subs.
Yeah.
Like, we had Bra and Elliott come in and then
Yes.
combine.
It was crazy. And it felt like those two were made for each other almost. Like when they came on at the
It was
same
good.
time, they were just like clicking. Then two specifically, I thought they could take on the world,
Yeah.
like if you just give them more time. It was
Yeah.
almost like in Kicking and Screaming, the Will Ferrell movies, like Pass It to
Mhm.
the Italians. It was those two. They're the Italians in this scenario, but it was so awesome. And I we've seen in like the preseason clip so far,
Mhm.
Goldthorpe just does that. Like
He does.
he'll shoot from the left side and get it across, and he'll just make the keeper miss. So just
Yeah.
be on. He's putting the league on notice. He's going to keep doing that.
Hmm.
You know,
Agreed.
and
He is now Goldthorpe. So,
exactly. And
Hey,
and that
he,
wasn't
there we
me.
go.
I forget who said it, but I'm like that's good. He needs to stay Goldthorpe.
Goldthorpe.
that immediate production too is like
Yeah.
why didn't he start? It's like
Mm,
where
Mhm.
and
Right.
that brings up our depth too, because I think we're
Yes,
a pretty deep team and we have a
we
lot of
are.
guys who can do it. And I know, what, when talking with you guys and talking with other fans, there was a couple surprises like, oh, that we didn't see this person, or, and I think maybe Elliot Goldthorpe not starting was kind of like, whoa, I think some people would have had him starting. But the fact
Yeah,
that it
I
worked
did.
out in this way, and like, do we have any complaints? Not really.
No.
yeah.
And I think this is like when you can justify having super subs, right? Is whenever you have that depth that you're speaking of, and at first everybody has questions, but then if you're like, well, we scored a goal without him and now we're going to score a goal with him, it's kind of that 1-2 punch combo that you hope actually works out whenever you are reserving people for that super sub role.
Mm,
I still think like Bra and Elliott are starting material in my mind. But again, depth being what depth is, it's hard to really figure out where you're going to change things and who you're going to, swap out with, because you have to consider, how's everybody vibing? How does everybody work together? What does the game call for based on who's out there? But it's really encouraging to see that we have these options. We have these players that they come on and it's like, oh, this isn't just because somebody has tired legs. This is because we're going to use the finishing move. We're going to get them with like the up, down, left, right, B start. And it's done. And it was another piece of electric soccer, another exciting goal to see him get the ball, Bra that is, up there to, Goldthorpe, and him just take off.
And it started with the interception from Sargent too.
Yes.
Like all off of him. And
oh man,
we have to talk about him because
he
was incredible.
Don't get me started on Sargent.
I was just waiting for us to say and Sargent.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Everybody I've been like, hey, have you guys heard about Kieran Sargent? Like, Kieran Sargent, what's that? And I'm like,
I don't think we can talk about him too much though, because then Houston's gonna remember that they have him. So
Houston, you don't want him. You
should
probably sell him to us for $1.
When I saw he was on loan, I was like, no.
I know. I don't know. I hope that if Houston does try and pull something, we're like, look, we'll pay you whatever, because we
need to keep him.
Squad. It was amazing. In my opinion, like Joe Hafferty, he won player of the match that we put out there. Congrats. It is very well deserved. He put in an absolute shift. He had that of a goal. And I thought he played great. Kieran Sargent, though.
Oh my gosh.
He was cooking the entire game. His work rate was absolutely insane. Everybody was doing great, but every time he got that ball, he was like going in these 1v1s and just being nasty with it. Like nobody could handle him on the defense in a 1v1 situation. And he was whipping those crosses like nothing else. Not to mention that he was the one taking both of our corners, and they were all accurate. They were all dangerous. Like, he had a heck of a game. And, when we did our predicted lineups, I put him in my lineup. And then I think, even in my mind, I was like, oh, I don't know. Like, because there are a lot of options there. Are they going to end up using him? He's a young guy. Like, who knows what's going to happen? But that's what I saw in all the tape that I watched whenever he joined this team. And I'm so excited it translated. And like, once again, this isn't to take away from other players, because we had so many phenomenal performances.
Right.
We really did. But man, he cooked.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was really, really good. I was very surprised about him and, his offensive production and the way he would, put those crosses in and make plays happen. I thought we were going to get that more from Epps. I thought for sure from what I saw in preseason and just, what I knew about the team, I thought Epps was going to be more of a potent attacker and, get those crosses in. But I was kind of underwhelmed with his performance, with Epps's performance and the new guy Beer as well. I felt like both those guys didn't really make necessarily an impact per se, whether it's a positive or negative impact. I think their gameplay was just pretty neutral. I think Speedy was fantastic as well. Like, if you look at the stats too, his production and passing into the final third is crazy.
It was great
for him to be up
both teams.
Exactly. And for him to be up there and getting those safe passes up through the guys. And, I could see it when I was at the game that he was a great presence on the field. And I can see it looking back through the highlights and the stats to back up that, he is a great player for us. So I'm super pumped to have him in there.
Yeah. He did really good with leadership.
Yeah,
as we knew he would.
Exactly. And, we talk about depth and like Medence wasn't in there, but I thought for sure he would be like a key part of the team. And
I thought 18 for sure.
I know.
At least,
Yeah, and I'm surprised we didn't see Stauffer too.
Yeah.
there's so many guys that I feel like, not that we've been told, but just from the things we've seen and
Mm-hmm.
what we know about them and from the homework we've done on them, that these
Yeah.
guys would be all, maybe starters. But
Right.
the fact that we're so deep and we're going to be interchanging these guys a lot is, that's it's pretty cool. Like to think all those stretches that we have with those back-to-back games and the traveling, and we have to go to Miami and the West Coast. It's going to be really nice to have a really deep squad of 26
Mhm.
guys, that we
Mm-hmm.
can count on. And, not every guy has to make the trip now, knowing
Mm.
that we have a deep bench. And maybe I'm putting the cart before the horse. Maybe I'm over speaking and thinking that the bench is too good, right now, but I'm feeling good about the performance.
Mhm. And we haven't even seen Corey Burke yet.
No.
Yes.
And word on the street, there's high expectations about him and what he's going to do. So,
Yeah.
and I don't think that's, a shocker to a lot of people considering he's an MLS product. So that could be a big game changer. And I will say, I agree with you, Dylan, about Beer. Beer kind of got lost a little bit in the mix for me. That was one player that I was kind of like, I don't know. I've not really noticed him as much, not that he didn't do anything, right? He was
Right.
definitely a part of that whole, setup and reason why we were successful, but got a little lost for me. Marcus, he played a little bit of a different role than I expected, but I still was impressed with his work on the wing. He, had a couple of crosses that he whipped in that were accurate. He wasn't necessarily like our feeder as far as like sending crosses flying across the goal like Sargent was, but I think he controlled the wing, and that was really, really important because I feel like he
Mhm.
was a big reason why they couldn't exploit that space. Jessica, you and I were talking about during the match how wide we were set up,
Yeah.
and I thought we
Right.
used that space really, really well. And I think that he was really, really important for making sure that that particular wing wasn't going to see anybody coming down it very often or
Yeah.
at all. I mean, he had some pretty great dueling numbers. He won 4 out of 6 of his ground duels. He won his aerial duel that he had. He was proficient with his passing. He had like 87%. So 26 out of 30 were accurate. And a lot of those were progressive and or like taking place in the final third. Not quite as many as, Speedy. But I was happy with his performance for
Mhm.
what it was. But it was just I think what threw me off was that it was a little bit of a different role than I imagined it would be. I kind of imagined him and Sargent just being like, bombs away. We're going to
Yeah.
send in
Yeah.
400 crosses,
Right.
and that wasn't kind of how it played out. But yeah, we have a lot that we can change up with this. And I think that having somebody like Burke, like you mentioned, Jessica, that might be, I don't know, just
There,
insane
there
if
was
everything works right.
there was
Mhm.
one opportunity in the game where it was like a point blank shot and Lancaster
Ugh.
missed it. And during the game, I was talking with Tim, and I was like, honestly, I think Burke would have that in. I think with Burke in there, it would be a 3-0 game.
It was a hard one to see missed because it was like almost right at the keeper. Where if it was just like squeeze just a little bit to the right here, to the left there, and we have it. Which I know everything's so bang bang. It's kind of hard to coulda, woulda, shoulda. But yeah, I think that seeing a new look in number 9 is the last question mark for me.
Yes.
It's like what can we do if we have somebody different there versus what we've seen previously. Um, and I hope that it's an absolute game changer. I hope it's something beyond, just like, oh, well, we're just kind of the same. I hope it takes us to that next level. And then we become
Mhm.
a team that's just not only composed with strong chemistry, but we're a team that's just battering people with goals, just goals right and left. Yeah, that one is a really exciting question mark for me that I'm really ready to see.
Mhm. So speaking of future games, I didn't look at the highlights of who were playing Saturday, but you guys did.
Hmm.
How
Yeah.
what are your thoughts there?
Orange
I
County they put on a statement against Oakland this weekend.
They won. So they won 4-2 against Oakland, right? I think they can pump the brakes a little. Like, I think that their goals were a little bit fluky. I think that they got pretty lucky on their goals. Oakland's goalkeeper, he was not like doing his best work, out there. The saves that he was making were not helping his team out. His deflections put the ball back into play really bad,
Mm,
and it put his team into a bad spot. And I don't. I think Oakland is, or I think Orange County is a good team, but I think we can. I don't think we need to be that worried about them. I think we're a better defensive team than they saw. I think we probably have a better goalkeeper. I think that's one thing we're going to get tested on a little bit more is our defense and our goalkeeping in the next game. But I do think we're a better team than Oakland. So I do think
Yeah.
our chances are a lot better. I don't think they're going to score 4 goals against us.
mm,
My problem with like Oakland was their defense was just getting shredded. Um, like Orange County kept sending in multiple runners, and then it was confusing their defenders, the Oakland's defenders, and they were getting pulled out of position and opening up space for these like low crosses to just
mm.
cut right in front, and then there'd just be somebody waiting from Orange County ready to score. And so, goalkeeping was not great. Defense was really not great. They were very unorganized way too often. And I'd agree with you, Dylan. I think our defense, at least from what we saw in this last match,
We're way
is
more
worlds
organized.
above. Yes,
Mhm.
Yeah.
we're much more organized than they are. I don't think we're going to suffer from that same confusion that kept happening with Oakland. Like they were all out of sorts in that back
There
line,
were so
and they
many
were paying for it.
there were so many diagonal balls that
Yeah,
that was in there that they were just getting carved up by,
yeah,
and I really don't remember too many of those happening to us in the game. I felt like
mm,
we handled it pretty well, and
yeah,
not only did Hafferty have a good offensive goal performance, but I think his defensive performance on the outside moving to the
hmm
right back spot is very good. And we saw, in the highlights and of the gameplay for Orange County, those wide spaces, Hafferty's going to be great in. Hafferty's going to really help us out in
mm,
those spaces.
yeah. I just don't. I don't know.
Mhm.
Orange County is not a team to take lightly. No championship team is. This is our first run around with them,
Yeah.
but I don't feel intimidated by them based on what happened to Oakland. I
Yeah.
know that might sound like I got a little bit of hubris going on right now, but I just watching what happened and how Oakland played. As long as we can travel well, which has always been a little bit of
Yeah.
a
That's a
thing
great
for
point.
us. Historically, travel has not been nice to us, for a variety of reasons and factors. But if we can be the team we were against Hartford, I just don't think we're going to be making it easy for Orange County, even in their own turf. I'm not feeling intimidated.
Yeah, I agree.
Fair.
So yeah. So I,
Cool.
with this game, I don't know if you guys. Let me ask you this: if you could change one thing, let's say about starting lineup, what would you change?
I think that's pretty easy for me. I would take out beer. I
Mm,
know that's not what Tim wants to hear. He wants me to put more beer in,
mm, you did
but
make it sad just now.
yeah, I think I would. I don't know because I like Firmino and I like Medence. I know what he's capable of from his League One days, and I know that we signed him with high aspirations. And I also
Hmm
really like Elliot Goldthorpe. I want to see those guys cook. To be honest with you, I want to see those
Yeah,
guys cook. And the beer wasn't getting it done for me. I'm gonna need more bourbon or something.
yeah,
I'm gonna need
yeah.
something stronger than beer.
I think that I would probably mirror that answer. I would like to actually see Nick Firmino in that central role. I would like to tuck him into the center. and then actually either see Goldthorpe or Braudilio out on the outside as the winger on that side. And I think that might have a chance to really be something. Again, nothing against Beer, but it's just like when we look at such an amazing performance, the performances that don't shine really don't shine, right? Whenever you have such a good setup. So that's probably what I would like to see us kind of test the waters with and see how that plays out.
Yeah, I feel like I need to see another game or two to really learn the players a little bit more, and not being able to read their shirts, because I pay
It's hard.
I pay attention to that so that I can be able to make be able to form thoughts on them. And so it makes it harder for me to connect what's happening and the players that are out there. So I need a couple more games to really figure
That's
out.
fair. Yeah, and we might be jumping the gun a little bit by saying, like, let's change it now, because one game, you kind of have to get your, like, formula correct and make sure it can withstand multiple teams and multiple games. So I wouldn't hate seeing this starting 11 again, just to get like a litmus test,
if it ain't broke.
find our baseline.
Exactly.
Because I didn't hate it. Like, honestly, it's just being a little nitpicky at this point.
I thought we could have scored more. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree.
I thought we were such a good team. I thought we could have done better.
Yeah. I think it was just those two central up top positions that just kind of, if we had a little bit of a tweak, I think that your dreams would have come true and we would have scored more. So I am curious to see how that part of the field progresses a little bit, because in my mind, that was the area where I'm like, okay, maybe those two central positions, we could try something different and see what happens. But I don't hate it if we run it back.
Yeah.
I don't hate it if we run it back, because you know what? That's what subs are for. You run it back and it's not working out, then you say, guess what? We're flipping the script on them and we'll throw something new at it. But I don't know. It's just kind of like my one little thing, right? So vibes are high. I
Really
hope
high.
lots of people are excited for this game. It's because I'm pumped. I'm starting to kind of go off the rails a little bit here. One game in, and I'm like, we beat Hartford. It's over. Stop the count. Well, stop the count after we beat Orange County, because they're technically number 1 and we're number 2 in the West. Which, whatever.
Hey, how many goals do they have conceded? And how many goals do they have?
Yeah.
How many goals do we have conceded? So
that's true.
That's all we're saying. That's all we're saying. Yeah. Let's get some predictions on this one. I know I'm throwing a curveball at you guys on this one too. What do you think the score is going to be against Orange County?
2-2.
By the way, great movie with Jack Black and Colin Hanks. Orange County. I like that movie a lot. 2-2. Okay.
I'm going to say 3-2 us winning.
I'm going to say 3-1. I like 3-1. Us winning.
There you go.
We win 3-1. That's all they get. They get a single goal. That's all I'm allowing. And you know what? I might even take that away, because they didn't clean the room. I do think a win. And I at minimum a draw. I don't think we drop points against them.
The late game is what's like the travel and lateness is what's holding me back from saying win. That's the only thing.
I think some things have changed with the club, though, where travel will be a little bit smoother, as long as it, regarding things in the club's control. I think that they've learned from the past, and hopefully that planning will kind of, go into action, and anything in their control will be controlled, unless like some terrible 2-day layover happens and they all have to sleep in the airport and everybody's sore and grumpy and no sleep. So let's not hope that. But you're right. The away is always a factor we have to consider with this. But I'm riding the high, and
let's keep it going. Let's keep the momentum going. Both teams.
Nobody can stop us.
Yeah.
Until all these Lou City little brother posts stop, nobody can stop us. We're not doing it. We're not being little brother anymore. Oh man. Okay. feels
games
good to talk
coming
about all
up.
that.
I know.
And yeah,
That like I've been just like stewing on all this awesomeness since this weekend, and I know it's only Monday that we're recording, but it's just like it's been bubbling over, and I'm like, I got to tell the world about how amazing we are, and Julie Mackin's scoring bangers, and then Joe Hafferty's doing his thing, and some guy got so mad that he tried to punch Joe Hafferty, and Joe Hafferty's like, whatever, man, I'll do it again. You know, it's
well, it's just like you said. It's just like you said, Dylan. It feels like a release, and we've had such a long time where it's like so many episodes where we tried our best, guys. You know, there's always next game, and now it's like we have something to be. It feels like we have something to be excited about.
You know, I got to bring this up too because in the game we were up 2-0. And even like looking around the crowd, everyone's like, wait, we've seen this song and dance before. No one get too excited just yet. We know what this team is capable of. We know we're capable of blowing this game.
Everybody's brain started showing like highlight reels of all the terrible things that have happened to the team.
Yeah.
At least like all the old heads, all the people that have been around the team long enough to remember those. You see them all just frozen, staring off into the night. Being like, please no.
It's like Doctor Strange, you know, seeing all the possible multiverses, you know, it's like.
And there's only one where we get out with points.
Yeah.
We did it. We grabbed that future and we just held on.
Mm-hmm.
It's true though. We're here. Okay.
Yeah.
So this weekend we got a women's game at home. We're back at home. Super psyched for that one. We're believing hard. And
they have another T-shirt giveaway.
Yes. Give me all the merch, all the T-shirts, please and thank you. And then we got the away game, late one. Thanks,
10:30 at Jack Brown's.
In the West. Love you putting us in the West. So good. Staying up till 1 a.m. watching a game. I don't have to get up with kids early the next morning. No. But hey, the bright side, we're not going to be Debbie Downers. The bright side, like you said, you know, is go to the match at the stables and then leave and go to Jack Brown's and then watch another match with other fans and enjoy amazing burgers with secret sauce.
You know what I just thought would be really cool? I mean, I know obviously going to Jack Brown's is awesome and doing a watch party there. But how cool would it be if LSC kept the stadium open, like that little club area?
Yeah.
And just like a double header. Like, hey, stick around and watch the men. I mean, I know they wouldn't do that.
I pitched that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And they shot it down?
Oh, not necessarily. They're like, that's something we'll consider. So who knows? Maybe in the future, maybe one day, or maybe not.
Let's hope they restock on concessions, though.
Oh, yeah.
They were out in the game on Saturday. So, you know, if they're trying to keep people to watch 2 games, you got to keep it stocked.
They need food. Yeah. Well, and so if anybody from LSC is listening, my only other thing I would say is have more than just one set of cornhole at the supporter section. Yes, there's so much on the other side, and then there's nothing on the supporter side. Mm-hmm. And you have to walk super far if you want to do anything. And so that would be my only other thing is have one of the big chess games or whatever on that side too. Just something.
Yeah. I don't want to have to walk that far to get to the pitch for a bunch of 10-year-olds to cook me. A little mini pitch. I'm just kidding. I know that's the only place you could put it.
I mean, the mini pitch is really cool.
It's cool. I was hoping we would do that. Lou City has one, and I was like, we got to get one. And then I saw it, and I was like, we did it. We got one. I'm psyched about it. But you're right. That is a good point. Like having more like little activities on the Railbird side would be cool. It almost feels like kind of like the little forgotten area where not a bunch is happening. So I would even love it if they managed to entice another food truck to come and just park over in that area.
Yes.
So at least there's a food truck there as opposed to walking all the way to the other side. I mean, I know we have that concession stand there, but it would be cool to have something, you know, a little bit different.
Like spread it out a little bit.
Yeah.
It gets a little overwhelming over there sometimes, especially on Saturday with how many people were there.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
a lot.
and you think about how many people are sitting in the supporter section.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot. And it would be cool to have more of that there.
Also,
that's a really good point.
If we're piling on, get more hot chocolate. Just make it everywhere. Like, especially for the cold games, it's really enjoyable. Hot chocolate, make it just as accessible as the beer.
Yeah. Well, and it's over on it's only that one little spot that, again, because they're already on the other side, nobody even really knows it's there.
Are you talking about the one hidden behind
the
east side? Yeah. It's like the secret. I feel like I'm like going into Diagon Alley or something like that. And I'm like, whoa, nobody's back here, but there's a hot chocolate stand.
And cookies.
Yeah.
I know Chick-fil-A has cookies, but the cookies in that specific stand are fantastic. They're fresh baked.
I could smell them when you got them.
Oh my gosh. So good. They're so good. So good. And the hot chocolate, I think they have coffee too. It's a little hidden gem within the stadium.
Yeah, but you know what? We don't need a food truck on that side anyway. We'll just make Kyle come to a match and bring his Blackstone, and he'll put on a hibachi show for everybody. That's what we'll do. He'll just do hibachi. He'll do the cool onion volcano and flip shrimp into people's mouth.
Sake.
Yes. There we go. That's the deal. I wonder if he could actually flip a shrimp all the way over the supporter section stand to the field, and then one of our players is there to catch it, and then if he catches it, everybody gets a free ticket. There we go.
Maybe next promotion. Sergeant will bicycle kick it into the net.
Yes, and then everybody gets 2 free tickets if that happens.
Oh yes,
perfect. Look, we're basically LSC's marketing team now. Like we solved all the problems. Kyle Piercy hibachi.
Yep.
So good. Well, it's a good episode.
Support the women.
Yes, go support the women. Like, we had such a great crowd for the men. I'm still waiting for that type of crowd for the women. Like, people gotta go. I understand there's a lot of soccer, but go support them. They need it too. And they're trying. They are not done the season. There's still things to do, moves to make. They're on the right trajectory. They care a whole lot. They need our support. So try and support them as much as you can, just like you do for the men's team. We can't stress that enough. We want to have as much soccer here as we can, and that means supporting all sides of LSC and trying to get everything out there and feeling good. So come out to a game. They got all kinds of good deals right now anyway, so you can't even be like, oh, that's tickets $40 per person. No, it's like $5 or free. So
that reminds me, because sign up for the email list, because since LSC won, they sent out a special promo, $5 tickets, because they won. So like, if you're balling on a budget and you want to come but save money, that is an awesome way to do it. Like, keep an eye out for those promos. Like like we were talking about and praising at the beginning of the episode, is they're finally putting out those promos and trying to get people in the seats. They're on top of it.
Good shout. Shout. Okay, we did the thing. We're appropriately hyped. Everybody else should be appropriately hyped. If you're not appropriately hyped, find the nearest human being, grab them by the shoulders, and scream into them, "Are you hyped yet?" Unless you don't know them and they're a stranger, you will catch charges. Don't do that. We're not promoting those things. Make sure it's a friendly person near you. But come out to the games, you guys. It's a blast. We're starting what feels like just a fresh beginning all around, and it feels good. And there's just nothing like it. I love being able to sit there and hear everybody around me screaming. I get to act like a maniac and scream my head off, lose my voice, and then go into the interviews with the players afterwards. And I'm like, how'd you feel about the game? Excuse me? And I'm like, the game. So come lose your voice with us. It's in the Railbird section too. It's fun. We have a really good time. and like you don't even have to sit like right in the same section. There's all kinds of room over that way. But anyway, final thoughts, or are we ready?
I
we're
think
good.
I just want to shout out our Discord community too.
Yeah,
I think
they're great.
people should join. If you're a listener of the pod and you're not in the Discord, you should join. It's a good little community, and
Mhm.
we're very well informed. We keep up to date on all the LSC news, and it's very communal. Everyone's putting in stats and stuff in, and everyone's sharing their thoughts and feelings about what's going on. So it's a great little vibe we got going on in the Discord. So if you're not in
Yeah,
there, join up.
perfect shout. Good plug, man. All right, then. Well, I hope that we'll see everybody out there this weekend again for the ladies, and then maybe even at Jack Brown's. I'm hoping I can swing that. So, yeah, we'll see what the babysitter situation is looking like. Yeah, or just pack my 3-year-old to a bar at 11 o'clock at night. What could go wrong? I'm lying. I don't actually do that. Nobody call CPS. That is not something I do. I'm a very responsible parent. All right, guys. Well, everybody out there, you know what it is. As usual, come on, you greens.